Hello YouTubers. Hi, how you doing? Hope you're all okay. Right, so as you've seen by the title, this video, yes, it's called Music Needs a Revolution, because I think that music needs a revolution. And to put it in a different way, I say I want a revolution, well, you know. Yes, as John Lennon once famously sang, one of the greatest Beatles tracks ever. Anyway, I mean, I need... So anyway, the point of this video is I think that mainstream music needs a new musical revolution because it's crap, right? You know, it needs a revolution like Elvis or the Beatles. I know that people like Elvis and the Beatles only come once in a lifetime, and we'll probably never see anyone like that capable of doing that with that kind of talent ever again. I get that, but music needs, a revolution in the mainstream because it's just been getting more and more stale as the years gone by. It was since the mid-2000s, it's just been getting progressively worse and worse, progressively less talented, more sounding the same, less musicianship, less creativity, less originality. Most music in the mainstream now is just about money. It's a corporate product designed to make money and nothing more. Like my like when my parents were growing up, they grew up in the golden era of music, the 50s and 60s. The 60s, the golden era of golden decade of music, because they got to see the revolution that they got to live through the revolution that the Beatles created and that Elvis had created. And, it was just great for them. And I really wish that music could create another revolution, another revolution of good music in the mainstream. Because in those days, they could turn on the radio and they could hear loads of great bands in the charts, like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Kinks, the Small Faces, the Shadows, etc. But now you don't get that, when I think of the music, British music that's in the mainstream now, I feel very disappointed indeed. When I think of all the greatest bands that this country, my country, England, has ever given the world, including the greatest band of all time, bar none, the Beatles, and of course, the aforementioned, the Stones, the Kinks, Cream, the Shadows, Status Quo, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, Queen, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Judas Priest, The Police, The Clash, The Damned, The Jam, The Smiths, The Cure, etc. I could name more, but I won't bother to go on. We've given the world a lot of the greatest bands of all time. And what are we giving them now? What have we given them in recent years? One Direction. Yeah, great. Adele. Yeah. Ed Sheeran. Now, I've got friends that love Adele and Ed Sheeran, but, to me, that their music is just bland, generic and mediocre, totally overrated. To me, I know people that think Adele is like really amazing, like she's so special, like she's a cut above the rest. But to me, she's just like a face in a big crowd. She's just like all the other Celine Dion type singers you get these days, like Ella Henderson, Panola Faith and Ellie Goulding, etc. She's just like all of them to me, really. And so that's why and I'm not a fan of that type of singing. It's that nasally type singing. The kind that Simon Cowell wants. When he says, I like the fact that you're current. What he means is, I like the fact that I can make lots of money out of you. You're going to be another clone of the last one but that's popular and will make me lots of money. That's what he wants. And I think that's what you're getting in the mainstream now. It's just terrible, because I think music should be about a love and passion for music, because music is a real love and passion for music. And because I'm autistic, I'm an ASPIE, ASPIE, which is something that some people with Asperger's like to call themselves. Not all. Some people don't like, some of them don't like the term, but some of them do. I like the term, and I like to call myself one. And, because, and me being an ASPIE, like some ASPIEs that can voice their opinions, because some of them can't, unfortunately, which is very sad for them, if only they could. But anyway, because I can, and because I have such strong views and opinions on this subject, music in particular, I have strong views and opinions on other things as well, but that's maybe for another video, depending on how I feel, because some of them might not go down very well and could get me into trouble. But even if I did, I'd try not to say, I wouldn't say anything that I think would be bad or incriminating or something, but I don't know. But anyway, yeah, back to the music. Yeah, and it's a real love and passion for mine, and I just hate that, modern music has become so generic, and bland and mediocre. We need a new musical revolution to get people into good music. Like, for instance, like in the early 2000s, when new metal was at its height of fame, the late 90s, early 2000s. I know a lot of metalheads, well, I'd say most metalheads, don't like new metal of any description. They hate it being associated with metal. They don't think it's metal at all. And I can understand that, but I think they should look at the positive side of it, as I do. Think of all the people that are now into metal because of bands like Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit and Papa Roach and Slipknot, etc. Bands they heard in the mainstream in the late 90s and early 2000s, and because of it, they now love metal. They've gone into the world of metal, and they've experienced it, and they've searched more, and some of them might well now not be into new metal anymore. They've gone on to the heavier stuff, and they're into different stuff, which is really good. And I think that's a really good thing, and that's how I look at it, because I think new metal did get lots of people into metal, and I'm grateful for that. And yes, I do like to think that there are now lots of people that no longer listen to all that, like boy bands and girl bands and stuff and generic stuff in the pop charts, and now listen to good, real music played by real talented bands and musicians because of it. So yeah, that's it really. So yeah, but as I say, I just wish music would have a new revolution, so that kids can have something good in the mainstream. They can have something good to get behind. Because we had like musical trends when I was growing up, because I was born in the 80s, but I was 7 when, well actually no, I was still 6 when the 90s was, no, I was 7. That's right. I was 7 when the 90s came around. Oh no, wait, actually, no, hang on. No, I was 6 still, nearly 7. I was 6, almost 7, sorry. So I don't remember a lot of the 80s, but I do remember a bit. But in the 90s, when I was growing up, like as a teenager, because actually until about, say 95, when I started secondary school, I was listening to 50s and 60s stuff. I didn't listen to mainstream music. I didn't really know what was in the charts, to be honest. But in the 90s, we had like Britpop musical movements that we could get behind, like Britpop, and the rave scene, like happy hardcore. It was great. techno and stuff like that, and Eurodance, and you just don't get musical movements like that in the mainstream anymore, and I think it's really sad. And I think it needs something that people can get behind, like in the 60s you had the Mods and Rockers, you had the Beatles versus the Stones. Yes, I know. I heard it did get violent and there were fights between them. I don't remember that being between Oasis and Blur fans, thankfully. Certainly not with me. But yeah, I mean, I just think it's a sad state of affairs, and so, but I don't know what we can really do about it, because there'll always be these kind of people that don't. There'll always be corporate pop fans, those that don't understand good music. I mean, no offense, but the ones that don't get prog rock music, say, or metal, like prog metal or prog rock or something like that, or metal in general. They'll say it's boring, but it's because they don't understand it. They don't understand the complex music. They don't understand the complex musicianship of, say, bands like Rush or Dream Theater or King Crimson or Yes. You know, they just think that metal, they think it's all just noise, which is not. Yes, some of it I think is the heaviest bands, the heaviest subgenres. I think there are bands out there that are just trying to make as much noise as possible, and they have no interest in making good music. They just want to be as noisy and loud as possible, where the music goes beyond recognition. Anything with growling vocals in particularly, I can't do, because I can't understand any of those vocals. But as for the legends like Maiden, Priest, Sabbath, Slayer, Metallica, Megadeth, etc., as long as I love metal, I defend them, because they're great musicians who make great music. They've made lots of great music over the years. Okay, so I think I'm almost going to end it there because I'm rambling somewhat now. Now, I know some people, I finished by saying, some people will think I'm a snob or elitist because I think music that I listen to, real music, mainly real bands that write and play their own songs, because I think they're better than the likes of Adele, Ed Sheeran, Rihanna, Bruno Mars, Ollie Murs, Bieber, 1D, etc., all that generic crap in the charts. I don't care if you think I'm a snob or elitist, and I welcome people's comments, so you can say what you like. I really don't mind if you want to say, I really don't care what you say. Whether you praise me for this rant, for what I'm saying, or whether you don't like me for it, or whether you have whatever. I don't care what you say. You can say what you like. Give it thumbs down, thumbs up. I don't care. I prefer thumbs up and nice comments, but if you don't agree, so what? I don't care, because this is my opinion. This is what I think, and no one's going to change it. All right. Well, I'll see you later. All right. Cheers, peeps. Have a good one.